I still can't believe it. $4 million. My sister, the golden child, received $4 million from my parents, while I was simultaneously labeled a failure. And now, as if things weren't already surreal enough, my dad's lawyer just called mine. Was I wrong for feeling completely betrayed, for not wanting to be the bigger person this time? Tell me honestly, would any of you have done the same thing if your family had pulled a stunt like this? It all started so innocently, or so I thought. Growing up, there was always a subtle, almost imperceptible tilt in the scales when it came to my sister, Sarah, and me. She was 3 years older, effortlessly charming, academically brilliant, and just easier. I was the more introverted one, the artist, the dreamer, the one who questioned things. My parents were successful, self-made people. My dad built a thriving real estate empire from the ground up, and my mom managed their investments and charities. They provided a comfortable life for us, but they also instilled a strong work ethic. Or at least, that's what they said. From a young age, I was told that nothing would be handed to me, that I'd have to earn my way, just like they did. Sarah, however, seemed to glide through life with a natural grace that impressed them more. Her achievements, big or small, were always celebrated with more fanfare. My college acceptance to a prestigious art school was met with a polite nod, while Sarah's acceptance into an Ivy League law program was practically a national holiday. I shrugged it off, attributing it to sibling dynamics. Every family has them, right? After college, Sarah soared. She landed a high-paying job at a top law firm, bought a chic downtown condo, and started building a life that my parents openly admired. I, on the other hand, pursued my passion for digital art and graphic design. It was a harder path, filled with freelancing gigs, late nights, and the constant hustle of building a portfolio. My income was inconsistent at first, and my parents' subtle disapproval morphed into more overt comments. "When are you going to get a real job, darling?" my mother would ask during Sunday dinners, her tone dripping with concern that felt more like judgment. My father would offer advice on how I should switch careers, suggesting I go into marketing or business development, something stable. I tried to explain that I loved what I did, that I was building something unique, but their eyes would glaze over. The implicit message was clear. I wasn't meeting their expectations. Sarah, meanwhile, was praised for her shrewd investments, her fancy car, her impeccable taste. "She's so responsible, so driven," my mom would often say, always within earshot, a pointed comparison. The tension escalated a few years ago when I decided to take a leap of faith. I'd saved up a decent amount of money and planned to launch my own online art gallery, showcasing unique digital prints and custom design services. It was a massive undertaking, requiring significant capital. I approached my parents, not for a handout, but for a business loan, offering a detailed plan, projections, and a repayment schedule with interest. I genuinely believed in my vision. They listened politely, asked a few questions, and then my father delivered the crushing blow. "We believe in financial independence," he said, looking at me with an unreadable expression. "We want you to learn to stand on your own 2 feet, just like we did. A loan from us would only hinder your growth." He suggested I seek a traditional bank loan, knowing full well how difficult it was for a new, unconventional business to secure one without substantial collateral. I left that meeting feeling hollowed out, but I swallowed my pride. I worked even harder, took on more freelance work, and eventually secured a smaller loan from a credit union, putting everything I had on the line. My gallery slowly started to take off, a testament to my perseverance, not my parents' support. Then came Sarah's engagement. Her fiancé, David, was from an equally wealthy family, and their wedding was a lavish affair. My parents spared no expense, flying in guests from around the world, commissioning a famous floral designer and booking an entire wing of a 5-star hotel. It was a beautiful, opulent celebration, and I was genuinely happy for my sister. A few months after the wedding, during a seemingly casual family dinner, my father made an announcement. He cleared his throat, a self-important gesture he always made before delivering big news. "Sarah and David," he began, beaming, "your mother and I have decided to give you a wedding gift, a substantial one to help you start your new life together." Sarah looked surprised, but not overly so. Then he dropped the bombshell. "We've decided to transfer $4 million into a joint account for you both. It's a testament to your hard work, Sarah, and to the wonderful couple you both are." The air left my lungs. $4 million. My parents, who refused me a business loan to pursue my dream, had just handed my sister $4 million as a wedding gift. My head started to spin. My mother caught my eye, a fleeting look of something I couldn't quite decipher. Was it guilt, pity, or just smug satisfaction? Before I could process the words, my father continued, turning his gaze to me. "And as for you," he said, his voice losing its warmth, "we're proud of how you've persevered with your little gallery, but we still think you need to be more realistic. You need to focus on stability. Perhaps it's time to consider a more conventional career path. We want you to be successful, but you're just not there yet." He said it so casually, as if delivering a weather report, completely oblivious to the dagger he had just plunged into my heart. My little gallery was finally turning a profit, supporting me fully and gaining recognition in niche art circles. To them, it was still a childish hobby. I was, in their eyes, a failure compared to Sarah and her millions. I stood up, excused myself, and walked out of that dinner, leaving a stunned silence in my wake. I didn't yell, I didn't cry then. I was too numb. Over the next few weeks, a deep, bitter resentment festered within me. I tried to talk to my mother, to express how hurt and betrayed I felt, but she simply dismissed my feelings. "Your father and I believe in helping those who help themselves," she said, her voice firm. "Sarah has proven her capability, her financial acumen. You, on the other hand, are still finding your way. This isn't about favoritism, it's about rewarding responsibility." Rewarding responsibility with $4 million while actively denying a legitimate business loan to your other child felt less like rewarding responsibility and more like a cruel, calculated insult. My father refused to discuss it, citing it as their decision and their money. Sarah, when I confronted her, was surprisingly unapologetic. "Look, I didn't ask for it," she said, shrugging. "They chose to give it to me, and honestly, they're right. You're still struggling, you need to get real about your career." That conversation solidified it. My sister was complicit in their narrative, completely devoid of empathy. The golden child truly believed she deserved it more. So that's the situation I was in, completely cut off emotionally and financially, deemed a failure while my sister basked in a multi-million-dollar gift. And I had to make a choice. Before I tell you what happened next, I want you to pause right now and comment below what you would have done in my shoes. Would you have tried to reconcile? Would you have just walked away? What would your next move be? I spent days, weeks, stewing in my anger and hurt. I cut off contact with my parents and Sarah. My little gallery continued to grow, slowly but surely, becoming a symbol of my independence, my quiet defiance. I refused to let their words define me. Then, a few months later, something shifted. I was having coffee with an old family friend, an elderly woman named Martha, who had known my parents since before I was born. We were talking about family, and eventually the topic of my parents and Sarah came up. Martha listened intently, then sighed. "You know," she said softly, "your father has always been very particular about his legacy. He's always wanted his wealth to be managed in a specific way to ensure it lasts for generations." She then let slip a detail that would unravel everything. "He always told me he had a very complex will, a trust for both of you, designed to benefit you both equally, but with different conditions based on your individual paths." A trust, equal benefit? This directly contradicted everything I had been told. I pressed Martha for more details, but she became evasive, realizing she had said too much. Her words, however, planted a seed of doubt that quickly grew into a full-blown suspicion. I remembered scattered comments over the years, snippets of conversations I'd overheard about my father's, estate planning, and dynasty trusts. It wasn't just about the $4 million. It was about the years of being told I had to earn everything while Sarah seemingly received endless advantages. The idea that there might have been a plan for both asterisk of us, a plan that was deliberately circumvented or ignored, enraged me. This wasn't just about money. It was about deliberate deception and gaslighting. My parents had systematically undermined my self-worth while simultaneously enriching my sister, all under the guise of tough love and responsibility. I knew I couldn't just accuse them without proof, so I took a deep breath and contacted a lawyer, a sharp, no-nonsense woman specializing in estate law. I explained everything, the $4 million gift, the history of disparity, the fleeting comment from Martha. She listened patiently, Then her eyes lit up. This sounds like a potential breach of fiduciary duty if a trust exists, and you are a named beneficiary, or possibly an issue of undue influence if the will was recently changed, she said, her voice calm but resolute. She advised me to request a copy of my father's will and any related trust documents. My lawyer sent a formal letter to my parents' attorney, requesting all relevant estate planning documents. The response was silence. Then, a few days later, my father called me, his voice tight with anger. "What is this nonsense involving lawyers?" he demanded. "You're trying to ruin this family with your greed." I calmly told him that I was simply seeking clarification about his estate plans, as was my right. He hung up on me. The next few weeks were a battle of wills. My parents' lawyer predictably stonewalled us. My lawyer, however, was persistent. She cited specific clauses in estate law, hinting at potential legal action if they continued to obstruct. The tension was palpable. My parents stopped responding to any of my attempts at communication, even ignoring my birthday wishes. Sarah, too, completely cut me off, seeing me as a threat to her newfound wealth. The family was fractured, seemingly beyond repair. I felt terrible about the collateral damage, but a part of me felt a grim satisfaction. They had pushed me too far. I wasn't asking for handouts anymore. I was asking for transparency and fairness, something they had always preached but never practiced with me. And then, this morning, the call came. My dad's lawyer called mine. My lawyer immediately called me, her voice holding a hint of triumph. "They're willing to talk," she said. "They've provided some documents, and it appears there's a trust, a very complex one. It outlines provisions for both you and your sister, but the $4 million given to Sarah was outside the trust. It's a gift, yes, but its timing and nature raise questions, especially given your father's long-standing stated intentions regarding equal distribution of assets between his children." She explained that the trust, established years ago, indeed had provisions that aimed for a generally equitable distribution of significant assets between Sarah and me upon certain life events or upon our parents' passing. The $4 million gifted to Sarah was a massive deviation, effectively circumventing the spirit, if not the letter, of the existing trust. This meant my parents hadn't just given Sarah money. They had actively disrupted a carefully constructed plan designed for both our futures, largely to my detriment. My lawyer outlined their proposal for reconciliation. It wasn't an immediate distribution of funds, but a reevaluation of the trust, a commitment to ensure future equitable distribution, and perhaps a substantial investment in my gallery from a separate, parental fund to make amends for past misunderstandings. It wasn't about getting $4 million for myself. It was about principle, about being seen and valued equally. It was about confronting the blatant favoritism and the years of being dismissed. The call from my dad's lawyer wasn't a surrender, not exactly, but it was a crack in their facade, a concession that they might have overstepped. It validated my feelings, my instincts, and the quiet struggle I had endured. It made me realize that sometimes standing up for yourself, even against your own family, is the only way to demand the respect you deserve. I'm still processing it all, the long road that led to this point, the pain, the anger, and now, the faint glimmer of justice. I don't know if our family will ever truly heal from this, if the relationships can be salvaged, but at least, for the first time in a long time, I feel like I'm being heard. This whole mess has taught me that family can be the most wonderful and the most hurtful thing in the world. It's also taught me the immense power of standing firm in your truth, even when it feels like no one is on your side. I may have been called a failure, but I refused to believe it, and now, my refusal has forced a conversation they never wanted to have. Like this video if you were on my side through all of this. Subscribe for more stories like this, and please, share your final thoughts on this whole mess in the comments section below. I'll see you all in the next story.